Hello everyone, and welcome to the stream. Today we'll be running through the boss rush mode on as many characters as possible. I don't know if I'll end up beating it with all of them in a single stream, but I'll try to get as many done as I can. The one thing about these characters that I have set up is that they're extremely overpowered. There shouldn't really be too many issues clearing any of the mine trials, unless I do something really stupid, which is definitely a possibility. But overall, the difficulty will be more from just playing every character on the same stream back to back, and the time it takes to clear all of them. I think I can probably get all of them done, but it just depends. If I fail even one character, it's going to add a whole lot of time overall. I figure Ragna will be a pretty good warm-up character. It's kinda hard to mess up on Ragna when you have 5,000 HP especially. You can just heal back a lot of the damage you end up taking.
Choose your reward wisely. The trial has just begun. Generating elite enemies.
名誉、慈悲、勇気、天上、眠りなさい。ビジョンです。名誉、慈悲、勇気、天上、眠りなさい。
Choose your reward wisely. The trial and
The one thing I should probably mention is that I'll probably be talking a lot less during this stream, and I'll probably be responding to chat a bit less. But I will try to respond to chat whenever I'm between the boss fights. Just that I have to focus a little bit more on the boss fights themselves, especially once I start getting to the double bosses. Hey, Itachi, welcome to the stream.
a new trial has begun. Prepare to face new enemies.
うるさいやつ。その口を封じては罪人。逃がす者。敗因だ。
I think I need to get a bit higher if I want to hit Non. It's really hard to do here because you can't see where she is off screen. When you're in her actual stage, the screen scrolls up as you go up, so you can actually just go up and hit her if you can get enough air height. Yep, I'm gonna see if I can get all characters done on a single stream.
You'll face multiple elite enemies at once.
I don't know if I'll be able to or not, but I'm gonna try and get as many done as possible at least. I think if I don't fail any trials, I can definitely get all of them done. But if I start failing on even like a single character, that adds a lot of time. Kinda curious why I set up this Ragna as a skill damage character. It's not really the most ideal thing, but it's not the worst thing either.
Analyzing Evo-type behavior data.
So I think I'm gonna be pretty reliant on the hold skill, the claw attack, and then SP skill. There's a couple of these characters on my boss rush save file where I'm just like, what was I doing when I set up that character? In terms of just how I have their like tactics set up. It's been a long time since I made these characters. I probably kind of need to do like an updated version of it, but at the same time, it's a pain in the ass setting up characters. Especially because I want all potentials on them. I would gladly do multiplayer mode with stream viewers if the multiplayer mode actually worked properly. If they ever figure out how to get the netcoding better, I will gladly play multiplayer with people. Right now, every time I've tried multiplayer, it's just been a bad experience with input delay, or even the game just like straight up freezing constantly. Or not really freezing, but it stutters a lot. Best case scenario, I've had like half a second input delay, which is still, I consider to be unplayable for a game as fast-paced as this. I can't play a game like this with input delay, it'll drive me crazy. And then worst case scenarios, I've had it where like, the game's just unplayable because of stuttering. Yeah, Jin's passive is just really overpowered. I've been trying to avoid it on some of the videos where I'm doing no tactic runs, that type of thing. Trying to get, like, actual better boss fights put out. But in general gameplay, I'm just too used to having Jin's passive. Ragna's second legacy skill is also something that will just completely break the game now. Having a source of healing, especially in a game like this, which is roguelike, will just completely bypass a lot of the difficulty. As long as you're not getting, like, straight up bursted from 100 to 0, a lot of the characters can hit the point of where Ragna's second legacy will just out-heal any damage you take. Which is kind of funny because that's always been something that's made Ragna, like, a lot more high tier than he would be if you were to make a tier list, is Ragna's just sheer survivability. And now everyone can just do that.
I wish you more success. A new trial has begun. Prepare to face new.
No, there's no entropy for taking off tactics. There used to be a very long time ago. The entropy system has been through like 3 reworks at this point. Or maybe it's only 2, but it's been through a lot of changes. You used to get the legacy tactics completely deleted from your characters, and you also used to get the legacy passives deleted from characters when you were on certain entropy settings. So 100 entropy used to be so much worse than it is today. You had no legacy passives and no legacy tactics. It was really hard to beat the timer in Stage 1 because of that stuff. The timer used to also be way lower than it is today. It used to be 4 minutes per area, and I think it's 6 minutes now. Oh, that's not good. Okay, we got the heal off, we're fine now. That claw skill heals for a silly amount of HP. Especially once you've gotten all the passives and stuff for it. It basically almost heals as much as his SP skill, if not pretty much the same. I think the main thing that they need to nerf with Ragna's second legacy is they need to increase the cooldown. Because right now one of the problems is the cooldown starts even while the buff is ticking. So it ends up being where the buff has a really high uptime compared to the cooldown. Alright, check this out. We have the streaming technology to black and white out the characters I've completed. Very professional stream here. It's actually really easy to do. I will also probably forget to do it at least once throughout the stream, if not multiple times. Honestly, like, the legacy skills overall are something that I feel like are very forgettable. Aside from, like, Jin's freeze is very noticeable. Um, the new Ragna Second Legacy is very noticeable, and a lot of them are just forgettable. Oh god, this is a... Let's not use this gen. Let's use the other one. That gen's a little too overpowered, I think. Wait, this might not be the right one either, actually. I don't want to use the gen with the light spear build. My bad. I swear I have... Okay, this is the gen I want. Yeah, pretty much all the characters on this file are overpowered, but there's a couple that are even I consider a little too overpowered. Especially with a character like Jin, who I actually do know how to play. Like, when I do the Taokaka run, I will absolutely just cheese it with the Light Spear build. But for Jin, I don't really feel like doing that.
Choose your reward wisely. The trial has just begun.
Hello, I'm doing good.
Battlefield clear.
Yeah, I totally agree about the Legacy skill swing. If they didn't stagger your character or interrupt combos, I'd be much more likely to use them. That's something I've heard from a couple other people say too. They're just not worth the time it takes using right now. Oh, this is a really bullshit thing I have going on with this gen. I have Rachel as a legacy character, and so Rachel's passive is that she summons the bats that automatically attack. The bats are counted as an attack for the purposes of stuff like attack tactics, and in this case, they're also applying Jin's freeze effect. So the bats can basically stun-lock bosses for me. It's really stupid that it actually works that way.
The trial analyzing Evo-type behavior data. Deploying countering elite enemies.
Oh, do I not have... I don't have block on this gen. That might be a little bit of a problem. You think you replicated a Reki skip? That's interesting. Was it with the toxin pools, or was it with an actual, like, poison tick?
Countering elite enemies.
栄誉慈悲人気成長
You'll face multiple elite enemies at once.
By parry, I'm assuming you mean the block chance? Or not block chance, but...
New trials.
There's one specific block thing where you're blocking for the entire time you're charging hold attack. That's a very effective use of that. And that's what I usually do. Oh, I think I know what's going on. I have the blocks themselves, but the block for some reason has a separate potential on the hold attack itself, and that's the one I'm missing. There's a lot of places in this game they could reduce the amount of potential bloat. There's a lot of potentials that are really unnecessary. Especially with Jin, like, Jin has the passive that upgrades some of your moves for MP cost, but then certain moves themselves will also require another thing to be able to do the same thing. Or they'll require another potential that does the same thing. So just unlock those things with the passive itself instead of having a second potential dedicated to it. So I guess since I don't have the block on the hold attacks, there's also a potential where if you do you have to do the MP enhanced version of the up attack, this, and then you can charge the second hit of it. You can see the entire time I'm charging there, it has the block animation. So that's another good way to use the blocks to avoid hits. So right here, for example, I can just hold it and block there. Also, I just screwed myself over by trying to do it there because I mistimed it, but there's another potential that lets you... It's either after you do all of the versions of the counter, or you can press skill during the counter to go into like a special animation where he sheaths the sword and does a bunch of hits. You also have full invulnerability during that animation.
Commendable performance.
Yeah, Jin is definitely one of the characters where you start to feel it more than other characters when you're not at high potential count. I really don't like doing actual Jin runs nearly as much as I like playing him in other modes where I have all of the potentials already. There's a lot of characters like that. So that animation, I just screwed myself over again. It's funny because I'm trying to show off an animation that gives you a lot of iframes, and I'm just getting hit directly afterwards every time.
Making it this far is no small feat. Next, your enemies will unleash
Okay, this run just got a lot more sketchy.
deploying, countering elite enemies.
Oh, I got a block there? That's really surprising. I mean, it was totally planned.
I hope these rewards will give you some relief. A new trial has begun. Prepare to face new enemies.
The other thing that I feel like Jin needs to have some of his power shifted around a little bit. They put so much power into the block string, or the counter strings, where you do 5 of them in a row. And then the other way of doing damage is doing the instant great homing slashes, where you do them off of a sheath timing. But as soon as I stop doing those two things, I feel like I don't do any damage. And that's kind of what happened before during that other fight. Whereas with these recent couple of fights I've done, I've been taking it more seriously, and you can see just how much faster I clear through them.
Battlefield cleared. New trial starting soon.
終わらせてやる
Another thing that gets me in trouble with Jen a lot is his down attack. This one here. It does have invincibility frames, but I don't know exactly when they start and stop. There will be sometimes that I try to use it and I don't get the frames out, and I end up taking a lot of damage for it. That happened at the beginning of the fight here.
まだついてこられるかな
I was hoping I could maybe get a double kill on them, but I couldn't freeze her for long enough. Oh nice, she's targeting the frog. Or she was, at least. I mean, you could also say the reverse. Hakumen countering 5 times in a row at no extra MP cost versus Jin having to spend MP on every single counter. That's one of the other things about Jin that makes him feel a lot better late game than early game. You just don't really have the MP to do all 5 counters early on. You end up getting somewhat of a refund on them if you hit all 5, but you have to have the MP to use all 5 in the first place, and you only get a 50 MP refund. You don't get a full refund or anything. That's always been weird to me. How Hakumens are free, but Jins cost so much MP. I don't even necessarily care that they have an MP cost at all. It's just the MP cost is so high. And I'm pretty sure Hakumens had an MP cost at some point, but they removed it in one of the patches. I'm not entirely sure on that, though. So this record is absolutely insane, by the way. If you look at this Kokonoe, she has a 236 clear. It's one I did a speedrun on a while back. They patched out Lightwave on Kokonoe, though, so it doesn't work anymore. This one still has a 350 clear, which is also extremely fast. I have a Coco with under 3, and then I also have a Lambda with under 3 at 241. Those are my fastest clears.
The mind trial is about to begin. Get ready.
It's like, look at Coco's damage. It's so ridiculous. If I was on a Frost attack build, that would have just one-shot. And with the old Lightwave build, it would have one-shot as well.
A new trial has begun. Prepare to face new enemies.
And the thing that makes Coco and Lambdas run so fast compared to other characters is that you can set things up ahead of time. So like here I can set up all the components and I can start setting up banishing rays before the boss even starts spawning. And then I just kill it immediately. Whereas with other characters, you still have to have the time of doing DPS after the boss has already spawned. I don't think any characters can come anywhere close to Coco, Lambda, and Rachel in terms of speedrun timers. Hakumen, I'm sure, can do it fast, but he can't quite keep up with being able to set up things ahead of time. This is just so insane.
Keep it up. I wish you more success.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I remember Hakumen losing MP for his counters in the past. So it's one of those things like, why didn't they just remove Jin's cost when they removed Hakumen's? They did buff Jin's to where it does more damage for every counter you hit, but that doesn't matter if you don't have the MP cost to use the counters in the first place.
You did well. Next, you'll face multiple elite enemies at once. A new trial has begun. Prepare to face new enemies.
Yeah, every character in this game is strong, but there's a couple characters like Hakumen, Lambda, Coco, and Rachel that will just absolutely delete anything if you've gotten them set up properly. Those are the characters I would consider to be top 4 in terms of just raw DPS.
Not bad, but there's room for improvement. Generating elite enemies.
If I had Black Hole Flow on this character, I could probably even do a skip where the non and Ori don't even have time to go into any of their phase shenanigans on the last fight. It's a little bit tricky to do without the Black Hole Slow, but it is possible.
I hope these rewards will give you some relief. A new trial has begun. Prepare to face new enemies.
名誉慈悲勇気現状眠りなさい
Making it this far is no small feat. Battlefield cleared. New trial starting soon.
Lambda just has really high base values on all of her attacks. So once you start getting up to high potential counts, she just starts doing really goofy damage. They could fix a lot of characters by just increasing their base damage a little bit. Though I don't think they need to buff every character up to top tier levels. Otherwise, they're just gonna have to buff enemies to match that. I feel like they really need to just add another difficulty to boss rush at this point. That way, people that do have really high Evo types, like I do, can get more of a challenge out of it. It depends a lot on the character too, though. Like, some characters, even with my Evo types, I think the Mind Trials take a reasonable amount of time. But then when I play, like, really strong characters, or really high DPS characters, I'm just kind of breezing through it like I am right now. There's really no difficulty in this run. I'm already at the final boss. It's less than 4 minutes in. So I need her to land here, and then she didn't go into stun phase? Huh, okay. Well, Nan at least went into stun phase, so I think we're good, yeah. That's how you completely bypass Nan even going up in the air like that. That was a really quick run. But 4 minutes is perfectly fine for me just kind of talking through the run and not really paying attention to what I'm doing. Yeah, Mind Trial with Transcendent bosses would be fun. I wouldn't mind them putting the Transcendent bosses into Mind Training as well. Mind Training kind of has a similar issue to where a lot of those boss fights will just die too quickly.
The mind trial is about to begin. Get ready.
The one thing I never want to see is Reki and Oreed in the same fight. I think my brain would probably just explode.
This difficulty is trivial to you.
I hear a lot of people say that they think Noelle is pretty weak. I don't think she's too bad. There's definitely like a noticeable difference between her DPS and the top tiers, though. But that's kind of the same, you could say, for pretty much anyone. The top tiers are just so far ahead when it comes to DPS.
Choose your reward wisely. The trial has just begun. Analyzing Evo-type behavior data. Deploying countering elite enemies.
Hello. So selecting new characters allows you to start the run with a passive effect and an active effect based on that character. So, like, for example, if you start the run with Jin as one of your legacy characters, you'll get Jin's passive, which makes it where when you dodge an attack, the screen slows down and you have invincibility during the duration. And then you'll also get an active effect of, you can freeze enemies like that right there. For me, it's left trigger to use the character's legacy skill, but it depends on what control scheme you're playing on. And then also, every time you finish a run, if your Evo type has high enough rating, it will ask you to select between... let me just go back to menu real quick.
Welcome to the Ace Mine training
I can continue the run without any problems. But anyways, when you finish a run, it will ask you to select between two different tactics. And those two tactics are things that you want to pass on to your legacy character. So for example, if I select this Jin here, the thing you can see on the top is that this is his active ability you can use during the run. This is his passive that you will just get automatically. And then these are the two tactics that I chose to pass on. So if I start the run right now, I would automatically have the Rending Impact and the Fatal Rend. I would not need to find those throughout the run. I would just start with them. The two that you're able to pass on at the end of runs is based on what tactics you picked up throughout that run. I have a list of what all the passives do. Some of them... I don't know, like, exactly what all of them do, in terms of, like, damage calculation and how the actual mechanics function. This game is really bad with the legacy passive descriptions. Goodbye, Nan. I don't want none of your shenanigans today. There's not really a whole lot of point of having multiple saves. The main reason I have multiple saves is for content creation purposes. I have one file that has a lot of characters with good, like, tactics to inherit for when I do specific builds on runs. And then I have one save file that has all of the characters I use for Mind Trials, which is the boss rush mode I'm doing right now. And then I have another save file that has characters with no tactics on them for when I do other types of videos. You will need multiple save files at some point if you want all of the story mode endings, but other than that, it's just for having more Evo type storage in my case. You can also duplicate files at any time, so even though I have like 6 files, most of them are set up off of the same base file. I didn't have to like grind them all individually or anything. Nan gets bullied a lot on this stream, unfortunately for her. I didn't pay attention to the story either. I started reading some of it at the beginning, and then I ended up just skipping through it. I think when you're playing as a Blazblue character, you're doing like you're doing some type of simulation All of these are different types of simulations that you do, like a virtual reality game or something like that. I don't remember why they're going into simulations, though. It's just your avatar is controlling the virtual version of the character. It's not the actual character itself. The story really doesn't have anything to do with BlazBlue. It's just kind of the story is more of an excuse to use the BlazBlue characters, maybe, without having it be an actual tie-in. I don't know what they were going for with it. Non-teleported right when I did that. I should really freeze before I do the SP skill. I'm pretty sure I could have gotten the skip off there. I think if I do this enough times, I will eventually get enough height to hit non. But it's hard to do it with also dodging the lasers at the same time. See if we can get the double kill. Oh, they do the simulations to gather data on strengthening humans. Okay, that makes enough sense, I guess. Oh no, they definitely do not have any rights to tie this into the actual BlazBlue series. Man, my Noel runs always feel really smooth and really fast when I play them, but then when I look at the clear time, it's on the lower end. I could probably bring down the clear time a lot just by using the SP skill more often, but I don't really like spamming it. So now the question is, which Azama do I use? I have an attack build with light spears, and then I have a skill build that doesn't do any tactic damage on its own, pretty much. I don't know if he really does enough DPS without having some kind of extra tactic DPS, like the light spears. Eh, we'll try it. Well, the other issue is that I don't have max tactics on this, What am I missing? A lot of the passives, it looks... Oh, no, it's not the passives. Oh, I really do not want to play without the down dash thing. And not having the air attack resets would be pretty annoying too. So we'll just go with the full potential one. No, this is not an official Arc System game. It's made by 91 Act, which just has the rights to use the Blazblue characters. They've also made, they made the Blazblue mobile game, what was it called? It was like Blazblue Revolution Reburning, something like that. I don't remember if they made Blazblue Dark War or not. Blazblue Dark War was also a mobile game, but I'm pretty sure this studio made Blazblue RR. One thing that helps with getting high ratings is being on 75 entropy. Oh, my stream preview has been running in the background this entire time. I haven't dropped any frames, surprisingly. So the preview on YouTube actually hasn't been affecting it somehow. That's really surprising. But anyways, getting strong Evo types, being on 75 helps, because it gives you it gives you an extra shop reroll. Being on 81 is even more ideal, since you also get an extra, sortie show thing. And then aside from that, there's also, like, there's a lot of mind crystals, and you can use starting buffs in order to make a lot more... money throughout the run to use on exchange spaces. And then mostly you want to try and spend a majority of your money on potentials. Those will give you the highest ratings compared to the other things. They're just worth more rating. But anyways, I linked a document that has all the details of everything I do in order to get the characters. If you want max potentials on characters, you're either just going to have to get really lucky with certain things throughout the run, or there is an exploit in order to RNG manipulate some stuff. I don't really recommend using the exploit too often, but when it comes to just setting up max potential characters, I don't mind using it personally. It does make the character a lot stronger in the mind trials, but I would rather just have access to their entire moveset. Since it's an end-game type of mode anyways, I want to be able to use the character to its full capability. Oops. I thought he would fly forward. So the one problem with having the automatic light spear setup that I have right now is that it will interrupt, like, the knockback on certain combos that I'm trying to do. I mean, that's basically a non-issue for most people, though. There's not really a whole lot of opportunities to combo bosses in the first place. I think the stream's always just going to have delay, no matter what I do. It's set on the lowest latency possible, but I think any stream is just always going to have delay. I'm assuming you mean, delay in terms of, like, if I respond to something, or, like, if I post something and say something at the same time, you're going to see the post first. Right now, I have set up... It's all light except for my attack slot. I'll show it here. There's a lot of setups you can do in this game that give you automatic light spear spawning. One of them is the light combination between... you need holy marks and you need flash. So what happens is, first you want to get mark flash for the holy marks, where enemies inflicted with the holy mark have a chance to trigger flash, and then you need light spears and legacy flash to get flash light spear. So when flash spawns, you shoot light spears at it. So this automatically makes the flashes for us every time enemies are marked by the holy marks, and then this automatically shoots the light spears every time that happens. And then also, I did something a little bit more advanced in this run. So I inherited something like skill light spear and light spear light wave, and this makes it where, even though I don't have light wave on my attack slot, I'm still able to have it as a red effect. You don't actually need the secondary activation for this. You only need the light spears, and that applies for most red effects. Red effects, usually, if you inherit them, they just have one primary activation method. You don't need both other requirements to actually use it. So that allowed me to run Frost instead of the light waves, which the light waves wouldn't really be too useful on Azama, I don't think. But if you wanted to just run it as a full light build, you could do that with light wave on your attack slot. What light wave does is, there's another red effect where every time the light spears are hitting, they're also summoning a light wave. And that's where you get a lot of the damage from in any of the automatic spear builds. Them proccing light waves every time will also just completely delete any normal spaces you go through. You'll have just such a huge amount of automatic AoE damage that nothing will stand a chance.
I hope these rewards will give you some relief.
A difficulty modifier that just made you fight both area bosses at once would actually be really cool. It should also give you a second potential for doing so, as like a little bit of a reward. I think that'd be a really nice thing. It would definitely make the boss fights a lot more interesting. It'd be basically like taking a... It's been so long since I played Risk of Rain. I think it's a mountain shrine. That every time you take a mountain shrine during a thing, another version of the boss spawns.
I hope these rewards will give you some relief.
Hazama's a weird one to rate in terms of
New trials start.
power, because he's one of the characters that I think he feels really bad to play early on in runs. and you need a lot of potentials to get him going. But once you get him going, he still kind of has a bit on the lower end of DPS, I think. The thing about Hazama, though, is just the amount of iframes and how easy the iframes are to access, assuming you have gotten everything set up. Oh man, that would have been so perfect. I tried to do like a cool fadeaway thing where I shot Nan off the screen and then killed Arakune, but Nan just barely lived with enough HP. Yeah, Risk of Rain was one of my favorite games for a long time, until I started getting motion sickness. I'm really sad that I can't play that game anymore. I have another game, another roguelike, that I want to show off fairly soon on the channel, either through a stream or a video, maybe even both, honestly. I'm a couple hours in it so far, and I'm really enjoying it. I just want to get to the point of where I understand the game a little bit better before I start talking about it. Since that's kind of my main style of commentary, is I like to explain game mechanics and that type of thing. I don't know if you guys have heard of the game called Magicraft. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. I could definitely see Magicraft being one of my next addictions, and something I start to cover a lot, or just play occasionally on stream. I'd like to find some other games, so I'm not just playing Blazblue Entropy Effect 24/7. A lot of the difficulty just comes from that motion sickness that I mentioned. Most games I just can't play anymore, sadly. Magicraft's a really interesting concept. I think it's maybe sort of like, I've never played Noita, but I think the spell crafting system and Magicraft is probably somewhat similar. Basically, you just have a bunch of, you'll have like a wand type, and then it'll have slots, and then you can freely do anything you want with those slots. So there will be different things like, there will be passives that affect how projectiles work and that type of thing. And then there will be stuff like projectiles that you can slot in. Or you can even get like summons as part of the slots. And then you use the passive effects to augment those things. So like, if you want a projectile that splits into a million other projectiles, after it hits something, you can just stack a lot of those splitting passives on it. Or if you want projectiles to suddenly inflict poison or other status effects, you do it through that way. It's a very freely customizable thing, which I love that type of build crafting. Yeah, that sounds about right from what I've seen of Noita. I've never gotten to play it for myself, but I've watched a little bit of it.
The mind trial is about to begin. Get ready.
I played a lot of Magicka back in the day. I never played Magicka 2. I don't know if I'd be able to handle it without getting motion sickness now. Pretty much any screen scrolling that happens constantly or happens too often will give me motion sickness. And I think it's like a top-down scroller, so that probably wouldn't work for me. Slay the Spire is a game I have, and I've tried to get into it a couple times. I just haven't quite gotten it yet. There's a game called, what's it called? There's a game called, it's something like Racine, R-A-C-I-N-E, that I need to get back into at some point too. It's a deck builder, but there's aspects of real-time elements in it. Like, I think the way that it works is if you time playing your card to exactly when the enemy attacks, you get like a parry mechanic, where you'll take less damage or something like that. It's been a while since I played it. It's one of those games I tried out, and I really enjoyed it for the first couple hours, and then I just got distracted by other games. There's also interesting mechanics in Racine, where a lot of the things you're doing in your individual battles are scaling your character for the overall gameplay loop. Like, you'll have cards that increase, like, your strength or your speed, that type of thing. So there's another interesting element of you're not just doing battles in order to win the battles and go to the next one. You're doing battles to increase your character's overall power throughout the entire run. And you have to kind of balance things, because there's also like a time element to where if you try to spend too much time just farming stats, you will eventually end up getting punished for it. It's a really cool game. I really need to go back to it soon.
Commendable performance.
Yeah, Balatro is another one I need to try out. I do love my gambling and poker. I've seen a bit of Lobotomy Corporation gameplay. I don't know if that would be one I would enjoy or not. I think the Library of Ruina would maybe be a little bit more up my alley. I love the fact that slowly pressing the right button or left button a bunch of times is the optimal strategy for dodging a couple moves in this game. Something about it just looks really goofy to me.
名誉慈悲勇気現状眠りなさい
Alright, time to... Oh. My freeze missed for some reason. I don't know if it was just, like, the timing on when she dashed. She might have went out of range of it. I was about to bully Non. Actually, I can still bully her this way. But my portals are probably going to target Oreed instead. Now they'll target Non, but it's pretty much over at that point. I almost threw the run trying to do that. Actually, I still could throw the run. I'm getting way too distracted by chat now, which is going to get me killed in one of these runs, I'm sure. I know I can definitely bully Non when I do Rachel's run. Rachel's really easy to bully her with. I can attack her with Taukaka pretty easily too. But with Taukaka, I'm just not really gonna do the damage. Man, that falling cat damage is insane. It's a mix of the falling cat damage itself and the light spears going off. Nah, you don't gotta apologize. That's what streaming's here for. Give me a chance to just chat with people. I'm honestly surprised that the mine trials are going as smooth as they are despite that. I'm kind of just pressing buttons off of muscle memory at this point. I think I can just cheese him here. Oh, never mind. I was gonna cheese him by using SP skill in midair, but I forgot that summoning the clones also takes SP.
Analyzing Evo-type behavior data. Deploying countering enemies.
Nah, you don't gotta... Telling people to, like, talk less in the stream would be very counterproductive. The damage is coming from this really absurd build. It's not coming from Taukaka, I can tell you that much. Taukaka can do quite a lot of damage herself, but this build is just set up for the tactics. You get lightning orbs, thunderbolts, and light spears, and then you can do lightning orb thunderbolt, where the lightning orb spawns a thunderbolt, and then the thunderbolt spawns a light spear. And then again, the light spears are all having their own light wave. The only thing holding me back from playing Taukaka more often is this stupid dash. I don't like it. The dash itself is fine, like having all the directional inputs is really nice to have, but for some reason there's just a really clunky feeling delay on the end of the dashes that no other character has. It doesn't make any sense for it to be there either. It's not like a huge delay or anything, but in a game that has basically no delay on any attacks, even just having a small delay like this is something that is really noticeable to me. Could you guys imagine what would happen if Alkaka clones all got their own summon tactics? It would be insane. There are a few characters that have clones that will get extra summon tactics. Or that will have their own summon tactics, but Alkaka is luckily not one of them. Also, I'll try to show off a funny Taukaka tech if I get a chance to. I kinda got it a little bit there, but I didn't get the best version of it. That is probably what I sound like. My Taukaka dash has a 0.1 second delay on it. It's literally unplayable. The thing also is, I would understand there being a delay more if it was a different character. Like a more heavy-hitting character, but Taukaka's whole thing is she's supposed to be really nimble and quick. There we go. I got the momentum boost there. Let me do it from all the way over here. Vroom! It's so funny seeing Taukaka just fly across the entire screen. There are certain moves where, if you cancel doing a move directly into her, basic skill, it will, like, amplify the momentum for some reason, and you just go flying like that. The easiest one is the final version of the heavy attack. Or, not the heavy attack, the dash attack. You need some potentials to even do the final hit. You can also do it off of, wall cling dashes, I think. Yep, there I go. And you can do it off of, you can do it off of landing with Spinny, but Falling Cat. But the timing of it is real tricky on that one. Also, yes, if you need one of the potentials or the hidden effects or something for the up plus attack baseball toss, and then you can hold skill to pull them into a Kamehameha. That thing does really good damage if you're running like a Frost skill build. Falling Cat will also do a ton of damage with Frost skills. Now, I don't get motion sickness from this game. The screen does move occasionally, but it's not nearly as constant with this game. You get into a lot of places where the camera's fixed. Like here, when I'm in the corner, it's not moving at all. If I start, like, if I start really spamming around a bunch of dashes back and forth with characters like Taukaka and Mai, I can start to get some motion sickness, but in general, I don't. Also, I just took like half my health bar from, I took almost half my health bar from Serpent's bleeding damage, because it's based on how far you move, and I was going all the way across the screen. That was really, really unfortunate.
I hope these rewards will give you some relief.
Yeah, the motion sickness comes from the camera moving constantly. So, it's most games, unfortunately, unless it's a fixed game, or something like a turn-based game. Even some turn-based games I've had issues with, because they'll do things like zoom in on each character individually as they're doing their attacks or something like that. I shouldn't use my SP skill there. I needed it for... I kinda need it for Non, but I can also just dash up to her since I have infinite dashes. The problem is I don't really have a good way to damage her. Did I bug something? Oh, there she finally fell. I feel like her laser phase was supposed to have ended, but I was probably just keeping her in midair. Wait, why is my... I think the background's glitched. Or maybe not. Maybe that's just... Is the background supposed to be two different colors like that? I don't feel like it is. It's overlapping onto, like, the timer as well. Yeah, I think it's supposed to look like that. Speaking of other games, are any of you guys interested in stuff like real-time strategy games, or like MOBA games? Because one thing I was thinking of maybe doing for like viewer game days is StarCraft 2 is free to play, and there's a lot of stuff on the arcade that even if people aren't like RTS fans, there's a lot of like mini games and stuff on the arcade there. There's a game I really enjoy on there that it plays similar like to a MOBA, where you have a hero unit with all their skills and stuff, but it's a co-op PvE game. And I thought that would be something that would be fun to play with fans, if people are interested in it. Otherwise, there's also stuff like, there's co-op campaigns for the all of the main campaigns. Oh man, League of Legends is the game I wish I could quit. I quit League for a little bit at a time, and then I always end up going back to it. I'm at the point right now where I've mostly quit from it unless there's a special game mode out. I had my sleeping schedule pretty decent for a long time, and then Earth mode had to come out on League of Legends, and it was instantly ruined again. You sound exactly like me, Fom. I have no idea how to pronounce your name, so I hope saying it like Fom is proper, or you can tell me how you want me to say your name. But anyways, you sound exactly like me. Played League of Legends since the beginning of it, and hated every minute of it. I'll be honest, I never made it past Silver in League of Legends. But I realized very early on that playing ranked in League of Legends was not for me. I only played it for maybe 1 or 2 seasons back when I first started League. Ranked in League is just such a frustrating experience for me. Both in terms of, I stress out a lot more because I'm on a team of people, and both because I can't control what the team of people are doing. How do you want me to pronounce Luce? Luce. I could see it being pronounced Lucy or Luce or a couple other ways too.
Making it this far is no small feat. Next, your enemies will unleash their true power.
Yeah, Itachi, that's kind of my experience. I played for a couple seasons, realized that my mental was just not good when I was playing ranked, and then I just quit ranked entirely. I only played entirely for fun. Okay, Lucy is fine. I'll try to remember that. The other thing about League is that I like to do a lot of off-meta stuff, and doing that in ranked is not the way to go. You build a single wrong item in ranked, and people start getting on your case. Hey Matthew, I'm doing pretty good. Kinda just chilling out and talking to the stream while I do random bullshit in the background. I don't even know what's happening half of these runs. I'm just playing off of pure muscle memory. People can say all they want about off-meta, but my Yuumi jungle has a 100% win rate. It might be out of 2 games, but it is a 100% win rate. Well, that's the other thing about doing ranked. I'm a jungle main, and doing ranked as a jungler, honestly, just being a jungle in League of Legends is a bad experience sometimes. Something goes wrong in any lane, and it's your fault. It doesn't matter if the enemy jungler was involved or not. If the top laner dies 1v1, it's somehow your fault. It's funny how much of a difference there is, like, being a jungler and playing with, like, 3 to 5 man pre-mades is one of the most fun things I've done and one of the best experiences. But then being a jungler in solo queue is just, like, the worst thing imaginable. Rachel's bats will proc skill Rachel's bats will proc attack tactics. Both her passive ones and her active ones from the actual input itself. Even the passive bats that you get from inheriting Rachel as the legacy character will still activate attack tactics. It's really good. You can throw something like, if you throw something like Chain Lightning on a legacy character, or on a legacy Rachel, I mean, it'll just kind of auto-clear a lot of rooms out for you. Because the bats will be hitting, and then the bats will set off Chain Lightning, which does AoE for you. I can't believe how fast we're making progress on this. There's only 5 characters left. How long have I been streaming? Wow. I am very surprised it's been 2 hours already. It feels like I'm just flying through these. Solo queue jungle's the 8th layer of hell. I wouldn't wish jungle solo queue jungle on my enemies. So what do we have going on here? We have like a normal build, and I think this was the funny one-shot light wave build that I did for a video. I should probably go with the just normal build, seeing as I'm not paying attention to things like when my light wave is up. With the light wave thing, you can do this charged down attack, and the light wave will just do completely silly damage. Because light waves scale off of the damage that the hit deals. But who needs to do the light wave timing stuff when you can just press Shippu instead? Does Shippu even hit from here? I swear it does. If the tentacle doesn't cancel me. Am I missing something? I swear when I did my Hakumen guide that Shippu could hit this boss. It could also be something weird where this boss is for some reason higher up in Mind Trials than it is in actual runs. Also, I said the wrong name for the attack I'm doing. Shippu is the dash thing. What is the name of this?
A new trial has begun. Prepare to face new enemies.
What just got retracted? Is that something you did, or is that something that YouTube did automatically? Alright, see you later, Itachi. Thanks for coming into the stream and chatting. I had fun. Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure you didn't get, like, auto-moderated somehow. And if you did, I was just curious of how it happened. Oh wait, no, Shippu is his up plus skill. Oh yeah, it's Shippu for the upskill, and then it's Shiden, or Shiden, however it's pronounced. Shiden is the dash command thing. Trying to remember every specific move name for every character is really difficult. I did it the wrong way! What is wrong with me? Imagine fully charging a move just to fire it in the wrong direction. Couldn't be me. I love the fact that Hakumen gets the ability to just skip charging entirely and do this really goofy stuff where you just slide around and do charged attacks instantly between them. It looks so weird. Like, he should not be able to move like that, but it's funny that he can. The air cancel stuff looks really funny, too. Once you can, do the air attack resets with dashes. That took way longer to go off than I expected it to. Yeah, Hakumen damage is just really crazy. It also helps that this buff is... I mean, this build is designed specifically to just buff characters' damage as much as possible. You have Rending Impact buffing the character, you have Frost making the character deal more damage, and then you have Radiance as well. The only thing that would help out even more is having Ragna's second Legacy. That would buff him even further. But that didn't exist back when I made the SIBO type. I'm curious if I can hit Non with his SP counter, if I get high enough. That still doesn't hit. That really surprises me. Most moves that I've seen that have like a big vertical hitbox like that will just hit entirely off screen, even if she's way up there. So Hakumen's not doing that surprises me. Whoa! Where did she go? I didn't expect that to actually kill her. I know she was fairly low. That's a Shippu moment right there. Let's get Hibiki out of the way. I really like all of the rest of the characters. Less so on Hibiki. I don't dislike Hibiki, but he's a character I've never really cared for too much. I'm more just neutral on him. I don't really like him or dislike him too much. I'll probably save Icy for last, since she's one of my favorite characters in the game at this point. Alright, thanks for stopping by the stream. Hope you have a good rest of your day. What was that? I feel like I went upwards diagonally. Is there some... I didn't think there was any hidden effect that lets your up attack have like a homing on it. That's almost what it seemed like happened. Maybe it's just something weird with Floating Eye that happened. What is going on with my camera there? At least it fixed itself. always crazy how fast Hibiki can charge his SP skill. If you've got something like the rotating glaives just kind of running, and you're hitting an enemy from behind during that, then you're charging up the SP move really quickly. Like, watch it here. Even the SP move itself will gain SP back if you're behind an enemy. So I'm already almost have it active again. Plus, you just get a lot of free damage from having the rotating glaives going during the activation of the SP skill, and you're invincible the entire time, so it's a win-win.
Keep it up. I wish you more success. Analyzing evo-type behavior data. Performing elite enemies.
雷鳴とともにもちろん逃がすもの
Oh, I mentioned something earlier during the Taukaka run about certain characters will have moves that have their own summon tactic effects. Hibiki is one of those characters with his up plus dash input. It's called like dual wing double smash. Yeah, dual wing double smash. You can see when I do it, all of the characters have their own ice spikes. I don't think they get the fire spirits, but I'm not entirely sure on that. It can do some really crazy stuff with this. If you have something like the ice spikes and then dash shadow ice spikes with that red effect. Or you have something like the lightning orb build with the light spears. They'll all spawn their own light spears too. I wonder if Hibike's clones reach non. I doubt it. The ones from Inlo Slice, I mean. It doesn't seem like it. I'm really not sure why I went with Frost on this Evo type. Frost on attack instead of skill. I feel like it would be way better to have it on the skill slot. Because a lot of her damage comes from the consecutive throws on Exil, and then stuff like Thousand Spears and her hold attack stance thing. Her dash inputs out of these stances deal a pretty decent amount of damage, and then stuff like her up air and her down air end up doing pretty good damage too. But they don't really compare to the skill damage stuff that she has. Well, a lot of people don't really seem to like Mai very much, or they think she's a really weak character, but I like her quite a bit personally. I don't think she's really that weak either. One of the things with her is that she can be pretty annoying at the start of the runs before you start getting some of the stuff going. One thing that I do wish they would do something about with Mai, though, is her plus skill tornadoes. They really just don't feel worth it to use. Their damage is so low that it's just not efficient. Like, look at that damage. I could throw a spear or do something else for the same NP and get way more out of it. Mine's another character where you can just start refilling your SP skill extremely quickly. If you have the thing where you can throw consecutive spear throws back to back for free, they start stacking up they start stacking up SP really quickly. I went from like 30 to 60 there in just 2 spear throws. Especially once you start having it where you can hit multiple enemies at the same time, from like fighting the double bosses and the mine trials and stuff. I think her spear throws are really underrated. I don't see people using them that often or talking about them, but they do really good damage as soon as you unlock the consecutive throws for them. People always talk about the 1,000 spears and the other, her hold stance attack, I don't remember what it's called. But her consecutive spear throws really hold their own too. And you're not locked into place with them like you are with the other two things. Of course, the main benefit of the 1,000 spears, which is this attack here, is that you're invincible during the entire duration. So it almost doesn't even matter that you're locked in place. I'm honestly really not sure why they ever gave her that buff in the first place. I know she was on the weaker end of things, all things considered, but giving her just a permanent invincibility button is a little much. Not like it really matters overall. A lot of characters in this game can get really high uptime on invincibility, but it was just not a very interesting way of buffing her. And it made her just really even more so geared towards that playstyle of where you're just sitting in place, which doesn't really feel like it suits her. With her having such good dash movement and then some other stuff she has. That's why personally I don't use the hold skill stuff that often. I usually use more of her mobility and the throwing spears. I think it makes her a lot more fun to play, at least to me. Alright, we actually only have 2 more left. And they should be pretty smooth runs. Now watch this be the runs that I somehow have a problem with all of a sudden. Anyways, before we go into the final 2 runs, I need a quick break, but I won't be gone for long. Alright, I am back. So we got S and Icy left. My S clear is really slow. That surprises me. I don't know what kind of tactic build I got on this character either. Oh, I have the dashing, the shadow dashing stuff, and oh, okay, I see what I got going on. So S is another character that has a special, unique interaction with some of the tactics. When my shadows dash, if you look closely, you can see that my shadows are spawning their own crests. So with this setup, I get a lot more extra crests hitting. It's a really cool interaction, and it's fun just to see the cacophony of crests that are being spawned all the time because of this. Oh, right. Something that's gonna really throw me off throughout this run is the fact that they changed the input for... I think it's Galahad? The attack where she she does the, like, dive move, this one. It used to be on up plus dash, and now they changed it to up plus the action button. And it's something that's... I don't know if I'll ever get used to it. I mean, eventually I will, but it's just gonna take me a long time to get rid of the muscle memory. I wish if they were gonna do that, they would change her down plus dash input to... Because that's an input I hit by accident a lot of times when I'm trying to do air attack resets with my attack chains. I'll do like 2 attacks into dash attack, and then it resets the air attack chain. But when I'm trying to do that stuff quickly while moving around and stuff, it's really easy to accidentally hit the down plus dash input, that move right there. I'm surprised I don't have the upgrade where my dashing shadows becomes shadow spikes. Because I don't think there's a confliction with the other red effects I have. It's weird that I wouldn't have picked that up. It would have been perfect with this setup.
Starting soon.
I wonder if S has a way to get up to Non when she's in midair. I'm sure she does. Every character can do it. I just don't know the method for all the characters. But I know there's a video from the Chinese website that shows doing it on every character. I think if I remember right, Jin is the only character who can't just do it naturally. Jin needs a special covenant and able to reach her. Oh, that actually ended in perfect timing with the song. Huh. So now which Icy do we use? I think Icy is just really strong overall, despite people saying she's low DPS. Even my run with 2 tactics I finished in 9 minutes. And then my runs with actual tactics I finished in only 4 minutes. This build is really strong, by the way. You want Summon Blade Ring with Precision Cut, and then you want Skill Poison Ring with consecutive Blade Rings. They buffed the Blade Rings, so this build does a lot more damage now. The other stuff is just random bloodthirsty stuff from running like a full blade build, but it doesn't really matter. All of this bloodthirsty stuff has a long cooldown on it, so it's not really as useful as it sounds. If you just get Blade Rings, Precision Cut, Skill Poison Ring, and then consecutive Blade Ring, you'll do a ton of damage with it. And then you also want Rending Impact, because it does actually affect your tactic damage dealt. I can show it off, I guess. I'll probably do, like, 2 runs with Icy then, just because of how broken this build is. Ah, my bad, I keep hitting the... I don't know why I do that sometimes. I'll hit the button to go into the practice room instead of the... instead of holding to actually go into the mine trial. What the level stuff means on Legacy Tactics is that the tactics level up once. When you do a mine trial to unlock the second one, it will also level up the tactic ones compared to before you do that. And then also, after you beat 100 Entropy, you unlock a new mode, or you unlock a new difficulty setting in the Entropy screen called Transcendence. When you're in Transcendence mode, you'll be able to level up the legacy skills even more. But it only lasts for that Transcendence run. It's not a permanent boost. But yeah, basically with this tactic setup, you just put on the Poison Ring, you put on the Blade Rings, and then you put on Rend, and the bosses will just completely melt. You really want the Rend with the build too. It doesn't do nearly as much without that. There aren't many damage boosts in this game that actually scale your tactic damage. Most of the damage boosts just affect your character. So having something like Rending Impact, which can boost the damage of tactics that actually do pretty good DPS in the first place, like this build, is something that's really huge. Ragna's second legacy skill is also something that is boosting the tactic damage. So that'll help out as well if you want to run something like this. The blades are being spawned... I'll show the build again real quick. It's a red effect between the blades and the... There's a red effect between the blades and skill poison ring, called consecutive blade rings. When the poison ring's active, you spawn a bunch of blades. And then you also specifically want to make sure you get precision cut for the blade rings. You don't want any of the other upgrades, because precision cut doubles the amount of blades that get spawned. It just does so much more than the other upgrades would do. Precision cut might also just make them attack a little bit faster in general, too. I've tried doing this build with the other things, like the larger blade rings, and it just doesn't work out the same way. I should probably do a short video on this build at some point, because it's really absurdly broken. Oh, already at the final boss? I know the build's OP, but it's just really surprising to me that I'm already here. It'd be funny if I died here. No, that's not possible now, though. As soon as she gets into stun state, she's dead there. Yeah, feel free to ask as many questions as you want. I don't mind answering things. I like helping people out. Okay, let's do one more run with Icy. Icy's one of my favorite characters, so I want to show off another run that's not just being carried by the tactics. I also think Icy's a insanely strong character, even though most people wouldn't agree with me on that. How do I win with Noelle? I kind of just throw myself at the enemies until I win. I can show off another Noelle run after this.
栄養、慈悲、勇気、現状、眠りなさい。ビジネス。
Honestly, you can get to a certain point of, where your Evo types are just so strong that it becomes pretty easy to clear the Mind Trials. I can show you my Noelle setup after this. With Noelle, there's kind of two build paths you can go around. The one that I like is attack Light Wave for Noelle. She has a lot of moves that are really heavy damage and single hit, so she scales well off of the Light Wave. And then with that build, you can either keep going for full light. You can get some things where you apply Holy Marks, and then Holy Marks will cause the enemy to make flashes every time they attack or get attacked. That'll make you a lot safer, and it'll give her some extra damage. And then you can also, for your skill slot, you can either throw in Skill Cold for the extra damage on her skills, or you can throw in Skill Light Spears. Skill Light Spears work really well with the full light build, because you'll get a red effect where... So the Holy Marks cause flashes to spawn automatically, and then the flashes will spawn light spears through red effects, if you have all three of those things. It's a really good setup for Noelle. One thing I think a lot of people probably missed out on with Icy, and to be honest, I missed out on it for a long time too. This move right here, where you press down plus stance, and then you do your basic attack, gives you an MP regeneration buff. It's really helpful to have kept up all the time. There's no specific weaknesses for bosses in terms of like tactics or anything that I know of. There are very few interactions that are special between characters and some potentials. So for example, I just played S not too long ago. S has potential where she generates press every time she dashes, and then if you have the Shadow Dash tactic, The shadows that get spawned from the tactic will also have their own crests. So you get an extra bit of damage output that way. It's pretty decently strong, honestly. Especially if you can get these shadows upgraded to where you spawn 2 at once. And then there's a couple other, like, small Easter eggs like that. Where stuff like the clones from Hibiki's Dual Wing Double Smash, it doesn't count the clones from Slice, it only counts the clones from Dual Wing. Those clones will actually have whatever summon effects you have. So if you have something like Summon Ice Spikes, they'll have their own Ice Spikes. Same with the clone that gets summoned. If you have a certain potential for Kokonoe's base skill, where if you dash, the clone will use the base skill instead of you, that clone will also have the summon tactic effects. Other than that, I don't know if there's any other like small Easter eggs with the tactics, but there's nothing like a certain character will just do more damage with a certain element. It's more of just, like, hidden Easter eggs in the tactics themselves, rather than a specific elemental synergy based on character. Oh, I guess another one is anytime you have an attack tactic, Rachel's passive bats will count as attacks. So they're a source of automatically applying your attack tactic. And this works even if you just have Rachel as your inherited legacy character. So you can do it with any character. It's actually something that's quite useful in normal gameplay. You can put something like Chain Lightning on with Rachel's passive, and you'll get a lot of free damage in AoE. It can actually just, like, kill some of the normal room enemies for you. Or you can use it with things like Fire Spirits, if you want your Fire Spirits to just start attacking automatically. You can do it with things like Frost to apply your Frost attacks quicker, that type of thing. It can apply Rend for you. That one is probably the most practical of all the, like, hidden synergies. It's just really good overall. Luckily, it also does not proc Light Wave, so it won't mess up any Light Wave builds. It would be really bad if it procced Light Wave and wasted your Light Wave thing.
艾希而言，这样让陌生的永远即将到来。艾希需要4号准备。
うるさいやつ、その口を封して下にさば逃がすものか。その技で終わらせてやる。
And it's a really good clear, I would consider, for only having 2 tactics. I could also get that time down a lot more if I play more focused, but I really think Icy's a insanely powerful character. I don't think she's quite on the level of characters like Lambda, Rachel, Coco, and Hakumen, but I think she's really powerful. I think this is a... Yeah, I was trying to mess around with like a cold attack build with Noelle, but I didn't... It didn't seem quite as good as the light wave setup. For the light wave setup, I have attack light wave. When you're running light wave, you want to make sure you take flexible charging. Otherwise, your light wave just won't recharge as you're attacking, and it'll be really bad. And then I run skill cold, holy mark, and legacy flash. And then this is what I was talking about. Enemies inflicted with the holy mark have a chance to trigger flash, which the flash itself is a really good tool because it'll make enemies miss their attacks. But then also... Oh, I don't have the light spear setup that I was talking about on this character, but if you run light spears on this slot instead of cold, you get automatic light spears to spawn. But I think the cold on that slot is also really strong. And then there's, if you run ice spikes, there's also another red effect that makes them do a little bit more damage. This text is either wrong, or the red effect itself is bugged. The holy marks do not apply... The holy marks don't apply... Or, I mean, where is it? It says the ice spike can inflict holy mark, but it does not apply holy marks to enemies. I've reported that so long ago, and it's never gotten changed or fixed. If they actually fix this red tactic to where it does what it says it does, it'd be so much stronger. Yeah, I'm working on doing zero tactics runs on one of my other save files. A zero tactic mind trial run on Noelle is probably going to be pretty painful because she doesn't have too high of base damages. She kind of has to rely on tactics for a lot of her stuff. I've done the regular runs, no tactics, with most characters already. There's a couple I haven't finished up yet. But the Mind Trials are something that's a lot more difficult to do without tactics. Noelle can get a ton of damage out of her Shroud Fall. I usually like to get it to where it automatically is at full power, as long as the enemy's marked. And then you can do this big combo where... So I'll mark the enemy there, look at the HP. There just went about half his HP. That's because of a couple of different effects that she gets throughout her potentials. So you apply the Ignition Bolt mark, and then the down plus skill of the Shroud Fall becomes fully charged automatically because they're marked. And it also sets off the Ignition Bolt mark, which then the Ignition Bolt sets off the Light Wave that is active. And that's how you get those really huge damage spikes out of Noelle. Oh, give me a second. I forgot. No, I didn't. I marked up IC. So now that I've finished with every character, I guess I'll just do a couple more runs, and if there are any more requests, I can take them. Throw up a couple characters that people want to see that weren't here before. The other thing with Noelle is that, especially if you're running a skill cold, the damage of her SP skill just goes through the roof. Her SP skill is insanely good. And then for safety tools, you have stuff like her up attack has a lot of invincibility frames on it. And you can get invincibility frames on her Ignition Bolt thing as well. That's a good, like, on-demand source of getting invincibility. You end up getting invincibility frames on all of her moves, but I'm not familiar with all of them. I usually just either use the up attack or the Ignition Bolt. The thing is, even if you don't have a mark and you whiff an Ignition Bolt, the animation, like this animation here, has the iframe still. So, like here, I can just press it on demand and get basically instant invincibility frames anytime I need them. And then when they are marked, you have a little bit more of the invincibility frames from the longer animation. Also, when it comes to the double boss fights, you can stack your Ignition Bolt damage, both from the Light Wave itself and the Ignition Bolt itself. So if enemies are on top of each other, and they're both marked, it'll do a damage instance of Ignition Bolt for each enemy, But then each damage instance will also do AoE damage. So you'll just get double the damage that way. It's really prevalent, like, if you can get a bunch of these summons in this fight spawned, you can just pretty much one-shot the boss if you get everything stacked together. So here I'll try to see if I can get it off. I need my light wave to recharge, which is the problem right now. And then my automatic tactics just ended up killing stuff for me. But the ignition bolt stacking will also just scale up the light wave as well. Because the light wave scales off of the damage that your attack deals. And since all of the ignition bolt damage is hitting at the same time, they all count towards light wave. At least I think so, unless they patch that one. They did patch one of the other... They patched one of the other things with light wave damage stacking on Kokonoe. But last time I had checked, it still works on Noelle. Kokonoe's version of it was extremely broken, to the point of where you could do like 300,000 damage in a single second. So I'm really not surprised they patched it out. I don't know if it was quite hitting 300,000 damage in a single hit, but it was really high. Up until the later parts of the boss rush, I could just one-shot every single boss as soon as it spawned with Kokonoe. There's an old speedrun video on my channel from her, if you are interested in seeing it. What you do is just stack all of your components in one spot, and then since every component would blow up and hit at the same time, it would stack light wave damage for each one of them, and it would just get up to the point of doing completely insane damage. One thing I should work on a lot more with Noelle is buffering out the heavy attacks. Her heavy attacks are really strong as well. And it's hard to show off here, but you can buffer heavy attacks during any other move, and then the heavy attacks will come out instantly as soon as the other move is done. And the heavy attacks themselves don't really have a lot of in-lag or anything on them. You can get to the point of where you're chaining a lot of moves back-to-back as Noelle really quickly. You do need there's an upgrade for the heavy attacks where it says it does like AoE damage before you can start buffering them out and before they start attacking this quickly. But as soon as you get that, you're pretty much always just fine during the rest of the run. Because she can do a lot of damage just through basic attack into heavy attack, like this. You just do one basic attack and you start holding heavy attack immediately. Yeah. It's one of those things where, since I play every character in the game and switch around a lot, I just play a lot of characters off of, like, more of base muscle memory. I don't have a lot of character-specific text or muscle memory. I know that most of them exist, but it's just not something that I remember to use. Man, that SP skill is something else. If I got Non a little bit lower, I could just skip this entire laser phase. If I get Jin passive again, I can maybe just aim this high enough to hit her. Maybe not. There's also another timing thing that Noelle has, where with the gun command you can catch them and throw them back out. It's something I've never really messed with. I think it's probably pretty decent though. Especially if you can get to the point where you can do it while also, like, moving around and attacking. But yeah, I think a lot of me being able to beat Mind Trials on every character without much difficulty is just how powerful these Evo types are. All of these are at least in the 2.5k rating. I might go back and do zero tactic versions of the Mind Trials at some point. I did it with Mai, and wasn't too bad, but it was definitely a lot more difficult. Is there any other characters that people would want to see played? Let me see how long I've been streaming for. I've been going for 3 hours now, so I can do probably another 30 minutes to an hour. Yeah, I don't think Noelle would be very fun. I guess I can, especially if there's no other requests, I can go over to my other account and try to mess around with it a little bit. I think, yeah, this one's in the middle of a gen run, but I can just skip that. I haven't messed with it too much yet. The only one I did was Mai, and that took 11 minutes and 45 seconds. I think Icy I could definitely do it with, especially since she has the broken Ragna second legacy skill. Hazama just feels like pain. Kokanoe I could probably do it with. Ragna I'm sure I could. Jin I think I can probably get down if I do it enough. Jin's gonna be a little bit difficult just because the damage output's gonna become an issue. These characters aren't really also set up with ideal legacy passives either. These characters are ones that I'm making for a combo video. I'm working on a combo video that uses both the character attacks and the different legacy skills in order to make combos. I'm pretty close to getting done with it, but I still have, I think, 3 more characters I have to do. This is one of those instances where it's a lot of work just to set up one combo. So I have to go and make the entire Evo type with all of the potentials. And then I have to have the right legacy characters on it as well. Just for that one specific combo. I really hope we get a better training mode at some point, where you can just switch out which tactics and potentials you have. I really don't see why we couldn't have a better training mode. It's something I think they really need to add. Especially with how vague and poorly worded a lot of the descriptions are in this game. Having a proper training mode would at least give us the ability to test things ourselves. One thing that always really throws me off about playing all the characters is that Jin's block is on down plus skill, but Hakumen's is on just regular default skill. So I'll go to use it and I'll use the wrong version. Right there it happened. I tried to block, but I used just basic instead of down skill. It really fucks with my muscle memory, playing both of them. Do you mean like a mod for a better training mode or something? I don't know if we'll see that anytime soon. There's not really a lot of people working on basically anything for this game, in terms of modding or anything else. There was someone working on a save editor, but I don't think it ever really got to the point of where it was working too well. And I think it kept breaking every time there was a patch. Having a save editor would be so nice. It would save me so much time in making content for this game. I pray that one day someone will get one made. part where things get really difficult with the no tactic Jin run is somewhere around here, especially once it starts getting to the hard mode version of the bosses. It's really hard to deal proper DPS as Jin without using the 5 counters, but if you're doing that, you're spending a lot of money. I have to start relying on the instant great homing slashes now, if I want to get any kind of good damage in. Luckily, those also upgrade to the point of potentials, where they're not quite free, but they're really low cost. Having to actually manage my NP on Jin is not something I'm too used to, since usually you end up just killing the boss before it really becomes a problem. Oops. I think if I take Ragna's second legacy skill in here, I can definitely probably just beat it with any character, no tactics, but at that point, you're just kinda... trying to think of what the word for it is. At that point, I would consider it just cheesing the run, taking away all the difficulty of it. fighting Reki and Susano at the same time is not something I even want to imagine. Honestly, it's definitely possible. At this point, it's very difficult for them to make anything that's strictly impossible to do. Because some things in this game are extremely broken. Some things like a Black Hole Slow, Ragna's second legacy skill, and then just generally any character, if you know how to abuse certain things properly, can just achieve nearly endless invincibility frames. It would still be very difficult to do those two at once, but it would definitely be possible. This fight might be what does me in. This fight is very difficult. I would almost consider this fight to be maybe the second most difficult fight, aside from the final one. If you can burst down Tree, the fight's not that bad, but if you can't get Tree killed quickly, then this fight can get really dicey, because both of them just have the ability to basically cover the screen.
Commendable performance.
Music's still going? Yeah, it's going. I just don't hear it right now. Probably just the song having a slow pickup. So this should be the last fight now. But this is going to be very difficult to do. How did I get a homing slash out of that? What the fuck? I feel like they've changed some stuff with Jin. I'm seeing some random stuff like that, where it's stuff I've never seen before. That is not what I wanted. I was hoping I could get a freeze in, and then getting on to low enough HP so she would go into stun state instead of this laser thing. we're good now, though. And I think we got it. If I don't fuck up my combo. Okay. It was way closer than it needed to be. But it was a fun run. 14 minutes. Honestly doesn't seem too bad for no tactics. It really does put into perspective that I call tactics weak, but then when you do a run without them, you notice that they actually do something. I think my tactics run with Jin was more around like 8 minutes, 7 minutes, somewhere in that range. So this is almost double the amount of time. That was a very me thing to do at the end there, though. Have pretty much the guaranteed win, try to do a fancy combo, fuck it up, and then almost die. At least I was able to pull through with it. Oh yeah, it looks like 8 minutes and 7 minutes are my timers for the actual ones with tactics. So this one doubled the amount of time. Yeah, that last phase when Non is doing the lasers and Ori's doing her like other stuff, it becomes really difficult to see what's going on the screen. That's where you have to start more of just abusing your invincibility frames. Jin's probably one of the easier characters to do this with, because he just has a lot of iframes. Oh, I did it with Hakumen, apparently, and it took me 9 minutes. Hakumen is another character where he just has a ton of invincibility to abuse. I think Noelle could definitely do it if you understand her invincibility a lot more. Mine took me 11 minutes. This is a very bad idea, but I'm gonna try doing it on Hazama. Do I even have Jin Legacy on this? I probably don't. Okay, luckily I do. I would never want to do this without Jin Legacy on any character. Because it's a lot of time where you're safe and you can get free damage in. I think with Hazama, it's kind of the same thing, where you're going to have a ton of invincibility frames to work with, but the problem is going to be damage. One of the big problems I have with playing Hazama right now is I'll go to do the stance input, which is just base action key, and I'll accidentally be holding too far forward in some direction, and I'll get the chains instead. Is this Hazama? Hang on. Yeah, he does have max potentials other than this one. I don't know why my action key just felt a little bit slow there. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time chaining the dance move back to back. Normally I can just kind of spam it really quickly. Where am I? I couldn't quite figure out where my character went. I knew I chained into him and I got the counter off, but the problem was I wasn't sure how high I was afterwards, since I was off screen. I feel like if I want to get real damage output, what I really need to do is just this. Just spam up skill, but That's just not fun to me. Maybe spamming the stomp would also give a lot better damage output. I really wish the counters did more damage. They do good damage, like 10k is not bad, but considering like how difficult it is to proc them in the first place, I'd be fine with them feeling a little more rewarding. Like, why hit a counter when I can do 10k with the upskill instead? Also, Tree's a really fun boss fight to fight on Hazama, because I can just do the blender thing like that. That move where you attack during the chains is really awkward to pull off. It looks really cool though, so that's an upside. There's also a hidden effect that just makes it almost impossible to do for some reason. I don't know if it's the description of the hidden effect itself being wrong, or a bug where it's not working properly. It's also kind of funny how, like, despite being so awkward to do and how many hits it deals, doing this move just does not really do damage either. I feel like that's kinda just Hazama in general, with the way he's balanced right now. Way too much power is in his skills, to the point of where it's just not worth doing other things. His stance his like base stance move is also pretty decently strong, and his attack combos can work pretty well with Skill Frost, but they're also a lot more vulnerable at the same time. Where when you're doing the skill stuff, you just have full invulnerability during all this too, so there's really no reason to do anything else. I wouldn't mind Hazama getting some light buffs to, like, his attack damage and a couple other things. I don't think he's a bad character overall. He's decently powerful and he's fun to play. It's just more of a fundamental issue in my opinion, where he's not really incentivized to do a lot of things. Which is kind of an issue that happens with a lot of characters in this game. It's not exclusive to him either. And do I just not have any mixtures on this character? I don't think I used any yet. That's a little annoying. But it should be fine, I guess. This move technically can heal me, but the healing it gives is so minimal that I honestly forget that this skill even exists. You also get like an extra... You get extra MP when you attack enemies while this is active from some of the hidden effects, but then it's another thing that, like, it just becomes useless as a feature. Because if you watch my skills right now, if I use this, it will refund itself. And that's just because of all of the passives he has that increases the MP absorption rate. And then having the buff for reduced MP cost also helps with that. I wonder how much percentage mixtures heal just off of their basic form. I've never actually tested that. It would also be a little bit difficult to test with how percentage heals work in this game. It would be nice to know when it's better to take a mixture from the option selections here, or when it would be better to take the heal itself. God, we're at 11 minutes already. We're not at the last fight yet. I'm out of dashes. This is a really bad place to be in. All these spawns on screen while the eye spawns are also here. I guess maybe if I would have thought about it, I could have tried to get some extra healing off the extra spawns. Because the aura should heal more for each enemy that's inside of it.
Keep it up. I wish you more success. A new trial has begun.
I think this is the last fight now, but I have no idea if I'm going to be able to clear it. Yeah, we're on the last fight.
現状うるさい眠りなさいその口を封じているダイナの下に咲かせてやる眠りなさい逃がすものか現状
Whoa! What happened there?
灰になってないかもしれない終わらせてやる 女の下に裁きが下る
Oh, I'm up somewhere at the top of the screen. I countered one of the non-lasers, which sent me all the way up to her. No! Okay. Something else spawned and canceled that grab animation. Otherwise, that probably could have killed me. I think we have it here. Nice! I actually managed to clear 2 of them. They were both very close calls, but now I feel a little bit better about... The first set of ones I did mostly just cheesed through having really strong characters built up, but doing it without tactics is a lot more impressive in my opinion. Maybe someday I'll do a stream that's dedicated just to no-tactic boss rushes. It's actually a lot of fun to do. At least with characters I actually enjoy, like Jin and Hazama. I don't think I would be having nearly as much of a fun time if I try to do it on, like, Hibiki or maybe Noelle. I definitely probably wouldn't enjoy it on Okaka either. Coco might be one that's interesting to do, since she does have really high base damage, but she doesn't have good sources of going into invincibility frames like other characters do. She'd have to rely a lot more on actual positioning. Otherwise, I can't see too many of the other characters really being a problem. S has a lot of base damage and safety. Hakumen is Hakumen. Rachel's Rachel. And then Ragna can just heal back anything that's done to him. I think I could probably clear it with every character if I just sat down and practiced them a little bit and tried a couple times. Yeah, I think I'll definitely go ahead and end the stream here. It's pretty much at 4 hours now. I appreciate anyone that stopped by the stream, whether it was just to watch or to chat. I had fun chatting with everyone, and I'm glad I managed to clear the mind trials on every character in a single stream, as well as getting a couple of the no-tactic ones first try. That honestly really surprised me. I did not expect to clear either of those runs. I knew I could probably get far into the run, but I had assumed that I would probably die at one of the later stages. Anyways, thank you guys for watching or stopping by, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day. I'll see you